Okay, with this next video we are going to focus heavily on the administration side of this application. That would be, I'd say, more of a Michael position. We will talk about how to log into the front end and understanding the different parts. So what is the inventory? What is the items? What is purchase order? What is jobs? We will also look at understanding the system structure, how the barcodes work, how the items work, how to check in and check out items and stock take items, all the fundamental parts of being able to move stock around within the system, successfully adding items as well. We'll look at a whole lot of different. So at this point we'll be looking at this area for this next video. So let's get into it. Okay, so what I think we need to really cover first instead of the front end is we'll continue more on the handset. So what we'll do is we'll look at the administration side of the handsets, which is controlling stock, getting it in and out, and using the handsets to do such a thing. I briefly covered it to give you a bit of an understanding earlier, but what we'll do is we'll go from the very start. We'll cover from if the phone was under someone else's name and area, and log in as that and so forth, and then start to give stock to people. So we'll start as we do as such as this. We'll go over to this feature. We'll go to the emulator, and what we'll do is we'll close this. We're going to change. We know that by going to log off, we can see that this phone is actually, or scanner is actually allocated to U2, which we need as an administrator to be the warehouse. So we log in as a user, doesn't matter who it is really at this stage. And what we're going to do is we're going to sync all, we're going to move all the warehouse information to this phone or scanner to allow it to perform the task of being an administration. So currently it thinks it's a phone for a ute, and by downloading from the server we will be moving it to believe that it is actually a warehouse scanner. Now what I understand is the phones are going to be all properly allocated. There will always be a warehouse scanner, but it is always important to be familiar with this changing over to a different, like I guess, item of either a ute or a warehouse. The relevance of users are really just to track who is actually doing the job correctly, so that we can make sure that all our users are happy and comfortable with the use. Okay, so we completed the syncing of the information for the warehouse. So we'll close that and then we'll log off. And what we'll do is now you can see the location that this handheld is now the warehouse. Generally what we want to do is choose warehouse as the user, log in, and now what that allows us to do is we're able to move items from the warehouse to each of the utes. So for an example, let's just say that Julian, a ute 2, he had a whole lot of items that he used the day before. He would then produce a list of the items that he used the day before, so that Michael can then replenish his ute. So we'll try that. We'll use a bit of an example. So hang on a minute. We'll come up with a bit. Here we go. Okay, so what will happen is every morning the plumber should have a bit of information on a piece of paper, which we have created is the physically removed count sheet. So what will happen is the plumber will list the amount of items he used that day before, the unit number, put today's date, department, you know. But for example, like he would have something like the items he used yesterday would be like a mat 149, which is also a hose 5mm. 5mm easy screw, and that will allow Michael to easily identify what items he has replenished the vehicle with. So with the magic of television, you can see here I've created a bit of a list here of how somewhat it should look in pen for Michael to read to provide it. So what will happen is Michael should receive like 5 or 6 of these on his desk in the morning, and he should be able to replenish the utes with the method that I'm about to show you. Alright, so they get this form that we've got here that we've just got a copy of, we're showing you, and also what will be is a bucket. So they'll have a bucket that'll have the name of the person on the front, and what will happen is Michael will do as follows. He will grab his handheld device, he's going to click on the move item, and he is going to move all of the items, which was Julian, which was Ute 2, into his ute from the warehouse. So the day before, while looking at that list of information that I was given here, we've got 2 mat 149s, 1 210, 125, and a bit of a special one here with the actual barcode because it doesn't come with a MAC code. So what I'm going to do here is move these items from the warehouse to the ute. Okay, so looking at the first one, the mat 129, what I would do is I would grab the mat 149 item, which to me is the this hose, and what we're going to do is we're going to scan that barcode as follows, which is always easier when it's not on the handset. So you can see it's come up with a barcode there, and we're going to do a quantity of 2 of these items. Okay, and we're going to move it to ute number 2, so simply by going move. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll do the next item, which is this item here. Okay, now I'm having a bit of difficulty locating that, so what I can do is I can always go into here and I can do a search for the item called let's go suction. So the name on it has a suction as one of its descriptions. No, let's try pumping in the number code that's written on the back, 93122, and we'll do a search. Oh, it didn't come up. So that would be 9312232. Why are we not being able to put the code in? We are not being able to do that. Well, we'll figure out what that resolve is. Let's move on to the next item. We have a mat 210 here, so we got this one here. We got one of these items. We're going to move that also. We've got one of these items. Add that as well. Okay. One off. Move that. Okay, so let's just try this one more time. We're going to look for the code. That is going to be interesting. Let's just give it one more time. One more chance. Search. Doesn't come up with any options. Well, we'll have to look into that one. So we have got one item that is not coming up. I picked an item that has been put into product yet. But anyway, what we'll do is a bit of an example here is we'll show you how I can add that from the back end because I couldn't find it using the handheld. So it always does help. So we've added 3 items instead of the 4 items, and we go close. So basically what we've done there is we've told the phone that we've moved a number of items into the utes, but to successfully have that complete, I need to go into sync and I need to upload that information to the warehouse. So upload to the warehouse. So that'll take a little bit of time. So we'll just wait patiently. Okay, so you can see that the syncing is complete. We have those 3 items on there, but we do know that we have this 4th item that wouldn't scan. So what we're going to do is we are going to import it into the system using the back or the front end, whichever one we call it. Now we had a little bit of difficulty locating it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put an identification tag on a search and see if we can find it that way. So we know it's a valve. So we'll do a search for a valve. Way too many. Let's do suction. Do a search for suction. Now we have 3 items. Now looking at this item, I can see that if I look at the barcode, I can see that it matches the actual item that's on the database there with the 013 at the end. So I know that's the item. So what I can do is I'll go into there. We'll edit it. Come on, sweetheart. Come on. Okay, and we're going to grab that, whichever way you want to do it. Copy. Alright, what we're going to do, and we are going to move it from the back end. So we're going to click on move. Oh, there is no record. So yeah, so we've copied the barcode ID, and we're going to go into inventory from the warehouse to come on. Yep. Because I'm running 50 million apps to do this video. Alright, so we put the barcode up in here and we do a search and we see that item there, and there's 27 in quantity. So I tick that item and I say I want to move one of these items across to, hang on a minute, let's go back. I need to go Mackie Plumbing, I need to go U2, I need to select that and I need to say I'm going to move how many? I'm going to move 1 stock item across. Okay, so that is another way of moving items. If it doesn't work with the handheld, you have the option to go into the database, search around for it, and to move it. So you can see I successfully moved that item. It's dropped down to 26. So you can see how that all actually works successfully. If we were to then go and look into the U2 and do a search, we'd see there's 7 in stock now because there is usually 6 in stock. So see how we can move stuff around. We can either use the handheld or we can do it from the front end. But the goal is, ideally, is that we want to use the handhelds to perform the task. So once again, that syncing is complete. It's moved all of that information successfully around. And basically, you just want to make sure that you do log off. One of the other features that I should show you is the stock taking, just real quickly. Now, the stock taking is a feature that you'll use. Which I generally think that from the back end it works better because you're able to mess around with the system a lot more. But what I understand is you'll be able to scan the item, You could put the previous amount item into there, the new item, the date, scan it, and you would be good to go. But from the back end, it is a lot easier, where you would just go into the stock take feature, you put in the stock take item, for instance, do a search, stock take item, where you're looking for it, okay, and then you replenish that by selecting it, and it says how many do you want to put in stock. There's currently 26, and you can change it to suit your needs to what is actually in stock. You can do that across the board from, we're doing this to a warehouse, to a ute item right now, where we could be doing it to whatever item we wish that we wanted to be doing at whichever location. We can stock take to utes or stock take to the warehouse. So that is the first bit, the moving of items, which is a very important component of understanding and using the software. So what have we got next? We have done an overview of, no we haven't, we've done what is an item, what is a barcode. Well, we need to just quickly cover that. We've covered checking in and checking out. Well, we haven't really, we've really just covered at this stage moving and stock taking. Your receiving and your removing and so forth, we will cover at a later date. We're just trying to make sure that you're able to perform your tasks at a basic user level. So we'll cover that later on in a different video. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll just quickly cover the difference between items and inventory and how the barcodes work. So I'll just come over to this here and we'll go to our items. Now, it's a funny little state of affairs with inventory and items. There's two different things. There is the item itself and all of the information that's attached to it, and then there's the inventory of all of the utes and what's in those utes. So items is generally the description item, what it entails, all of the information including price and so forth. So let's just randomly scroll down. We will pick, firstly what I'll do is I'll show you a labor intensive barcode. So this is an item which is actually not a material. Oh yes, here's a material. Let's pick another one. We'll go, let's firstly look at burst pipes or burst pipe detection. So we'll look at this item. It's actually a description item. Like I described to you that we have a situation where when you scan, you can also scan information about your job. So what the job entails, there's no charge against it. It just makes it easy for the plumber to write the information down using the scanner as opposed to writing it with a dirty pen and dirty hands and in the rain and all that sort of business. So we can see here that it's actually classed as a description. Okay, and you can see the actual description here. Now there are no costs attached to this description, because what happens is you would scan this out of your book. Remember we discussed this book here? And you will be telling the relevant information of the job you've done so that it is provided on the invoice. So let's go over to another item. So let's go to an actual item. So a coupling compress item. So yes, we're going to pick this item, we're going to edit it to show you some information based on it. So as you can see here, it's got its barcode number. So when you are scanning, and we are creating barcodes such as these, so you can see that it's actually a series of lines. What happens is that's actually generated here. So this number here will generate that barcode there. So we put that into there, and we have an alternative number, which is our trade link number that we often put in here. It varies a little. Sometimes it's a trade link number, sometimes it's something else. But we usually try to keep it pretty consistent. You can see here, here's the cost of the item, the price that we sell it for, and then a discounted price for pensioners, plus an average cost, go figure. But it gives you all the relative information as follows. There is another kind of item in the system, and they are actually called MAC items. So if you have a look at these MAC items, you'll notice that when I edit them, they're actually kit items. Now what a kit item is an item which has a series of items inside it. So this kit item is actually a rubber inlet kit which consists of having a ball cock and a ball cock cistern red hole. So it's two items joined together to create one item. So they're the kind of three different kind of items you got. This is a material which has its MAC, so it's got a series of items attached to it to make one barcode. And then we have our other items which are our descriptive items. So another one I'm aware of is the kit A's and the kits. Oh, let's go. Let's just do a search without being specific. We can go down. Let's have a look. So we have here some burst pipes. Oh, burst pipes. So if I go into here, you can now see that it's actually a description with no cost against it and a bit of information there which we printed out. So we've got that, and then you've just got your regular singular item which has got its own barcode, as I said. Sometimes you'll find that there'll be items that don't even have a barcode. Like you can see here, this is actually a kit item. It will have a barcode generated for it. Ideally, what should be really happening is that should be over here. Well, we'll look into that. There may be a unique barcode there. We'll have a look into that. What I should ideally do is swap them around because it's actually supposed to be in that order. Okay. So you can see there's still a little bit of work to be done on resolving some issues in the database, but that's not your problem, that's mine. And we will endeavour to fix that. We've got here, you can see the item, how much we paid for it, how much it goes for. Now, probably honestly, the whole reason why that is an item number and not a kit number is because it's probably in a Mac assembly, so it's in a kit, so it never actually needs to have the barcode swiped, so that would make sense, and I'm just worrying about nothing, so I'll cancel that. So you can see you've got items and all the descriptions against them. Now your next part is your inventory. Your inventory in fact is an area which is important. You've got your items, but now you've got to put them in certain locations. So within the Mackie Plumbing business, we have certain areas. We have the warehouse and the 7 utes. So if I pick a warehouse and do a search, these are the inventory items in the warehouse. This is the number that tells you when it's going to reorder, and this is the minimal amount that we should always have in stock. Much the same as the utes. If I do a search for a ute, you can see that the numbers change. There's 9, 20, you can see that it's all relevant to the ute that you're choosing, but as you can see, people are using them and not replenishing them. By the end of the day, that'll be re-replenished to look more like this. Okay, so you've got to remember items are items, and inventory is the area of where the items belong. Okay, and that allows us to do all sorts of things. We can build kits here, like those kits that I showed you, and we will show you in a later date how to do that also. We can remove items, move them, stock take them. It's all just common sense for a database, and we will go through them all. So that is basically the administration side of the software, where we can, once again, just a brief overview, you've got your items here, and you can control and manipulate the information about those items within this window. And then you've got your inventory, which is where they are actually located. So that should give you a bit of an understanding. Now, the next area that's kind of important that we're going to cover is actually the jobs. That's more of a Dennis thing, but also a Michael job, and we will cover that. So let's see where we're at. We have talked about barcodes, we've talked about items, we've talked about inventory, and we've talked about all of those. We're going to talk about what is a job, what is a purchase order, what is an, we've done those, what is an item, what is inventory. So we'll just really cover what is a job. What is a purchase order is something that I'm not really clear on myself at this stage, but I'm sure we'll cover that later. So let's move on to